Welcome to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. I'm Rick Ripma, your hardworking mortgage guy, and I've been in real estate and mortgages for over 34 years. I've helped over 5,300 folks finance their homes. My team and I believe in custom tailored loans, not the one-size-fits-all approach. We believe there is a right mortgage for you, and we believe we are the team to deliver it.
And I'm a part of Rick's hardworking mortgage team. I've been in the financial industry for 15 years, helping customers rebuild their credit and get the best possible interest rate. I have a passion in helping you secure your overall real estate dreams, and even possibly helping you pay off your home even faster.
And for any questions on the Indy real estate market or mortgages, please go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. You can contact Ian and I from there. Or you can give us a call at 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And Ian, who do we have today?
Well, we have a wonderful guy. He came in here. He was banging on the door. He's like, if you don't let me in, I'm going to shout while you guys are on the air. And I was like, all right, we'll bring him on in. But
and he was early.
Yes.
Which is great.
And it's Rob, you go by.
Rob.
And is it Sorrell?
Sorrell.
And that's Sorrell.
Yep.
Wow. And you're with Keller Williams?
Keller Williams, yeah, Northeast office.
That's awesome. So before we get into your life of being a realtor and everything, what was your life before?
So before, I came out of college with an accounting and finance background, and so I went into accounting type, finance type work for about 23 years, and enjoyed that aspect of things. But after about 23 years, I thought, there's something different out there I need to be doing. So the last few companies that I was working with either went belly up, the bank called them no, or they moved out of state and they're starting over. And I thought, let's find something different. So had a kind of a passion for real estate, and so I started looking into that. And probably not a story that you haven't heard before from many people, but real estate's one of the things that quickly developed a passion for. So I've been doing that for about 10 years.
So is it you like it better being on your own? So when you're working with a company, you're getting told how to do it and everything like that, but now you're on your own.
Yeah, you have the ability to rise and fall based on your own efforts. When you're working in corporate America, you typically have a lot of support, but there's usually a cap to it. Not from just an earnings potential, but even rising through the ranks. You can get to levels. I've been a CFO and whatnot. So when you get to those levels, and when you're there, right? And so then it's just a matter of making sure that things are being well oiled and refining and improvements. But the upward mobility, the pay is you're relatively stagnant. You get bonuses and raises and that type of stuff. But with real estate, you're managing every aspect of your own business, and if you don't manage every aspect of it, then your business falters. And so having that ability to grow your business as much as you want it to, or some agents want to be at 3 million and they just want to stay at 3 million, and that's fine. But the lack of a ceiling in real estate is one of the things that was really enticing to me, and the ability to earn as much as what you can or what you want to is a nice aspect of real estate.
So where did you grow up?
So Michigan's my home state.
Okay.
I was born in Kentucky, lived a little bit in Alabama. Don't remember either of those two states. I moved to Michigan. So I still see Michigan as my home state. My dad was a pastor up there in a little place called St. Joe by Benton Harbor, southwest corner.
Yeah.
And lived up there for about 11 years, and then moved down to Anderson, Indiana, and just after Blizzard of '79. I'm sure if you guys remember that.
I do.
I was in Michigan.
He doesn't. He wasn't born yet.
Oh, my goodness. He missed it. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, I was young, but I was in Michigan, and we were just off of Lake Michigan and about 2 miles. And, boy, we got plastered with snow. And as a kid, that was the best.
Yeah.
But I moved down to Anderson after that. Really, my formative years were in Anderson. Went to school there, and then graduated, stayed in Indiana ever since 1979, somewhere in Indiana. Went down to Clarksville, Indiana to work my first job after college, and that was for the state, and then moved back up to Indy, and been in Indy probably since '93.
Okay. So you've been here a long time. You're Michigan may be your home state, but you're a Hoosier, right?
I'm a Hoosier, yeah. But I'm a Wolverines fan.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's okay. My dad graduated from Michigan. My dad grew up in Grand Rapids.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Got a brother there.
And they've been beating Ohio State the last couple of years, so you're doing just fine.
Yes, yeah. So that's always a plus.
You don't like Harbaugh, huh? See, there's a coach I know.
I'm
not
shocked.
I'm not into sports at all, but
Oh, not at all? Yeah.
I know Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. My family's really into sports. So then you got into real estate, and you came out of corporate America. Many times it's really hard to get going in real estate.
Yeah.
How did you do it?
Yeah. So I got to credit my wife with the ability to even think about doing it, to be honest with you. So when I made the transition in 2014, basically in 2014, from corporate America to real estate, we had 4 kids, all in school, and my wife worked full time. And the only way I was really able to do it was she had the insurance, because without that, with 4 kids, there's no way it would work. And so I worked 2 jobs in that transition for roughly a year or so, including the time that I was studying for the exam and all that kind of stuff. And the challenge there, to be honest with you, I didn't think about how difficult that transition might be, which is probably good, or I may not have done it.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, I think, what an idiot. What kind of idiot goes from corporate America, good salary and all that kind of stuff, to something that is 100% commission when you've got a family and 4 kids and a couple of pets? Who does that? And well, this moron did it.
Yeah.
And but without her ability to work, without her ability to manage a family and stuff, I wouldn't be able to do it. So credit her a lot for that. But the transition from corporate America to this was, the job that I had was a consulting job, and so I was able to work the hours on it that I needed to work, but I could still. They were malleable enough that if I needed to do something with real estate, I could go into those later. As long as the job got done on that side, on the consulting side, then I was able to do this. And so that was really helpful. I only did that overlap for probably 6 to 7 months. And as I ramped up real estate, I kind of weaned back a little bit on the corporate America consulting side. And then after about 6, 7 months, I just quit cold turkey on the other side and burned a bridge and thought, better make it work.
So you mentioned your kids and stuff. So have any of them had the itch possibly to go into real estate, or?
So I have one that has expressed interest in real estate, probably more from the investing side. So it's kind of like you, Rick. You mentioned that you'd kind of done some dabbling on the investment side. He's got some interest in that side. As far as being a real estate agent and doing the day-to-day real estate stuff, I'm not sure he wants to go that route. But there's so many things you can do in real estate.
Right.
It's multifaceted, and so he's got kind of that itch. The other ones, I've got 2 that are kind of psychology side of things. They love to help people. I got one in school now that's going to get I always forget the title, but anyway, he's going to go get higher education for that, and another one that's going to be doing that in the next year or so. And then I've got a daughter that's more interested in physical fitness side, and so she's in school for training on that side of things. So a personal trainer and all those kinds of things. So as you can tell, I haven't gotten my routine down yet. That's going to be her next charge, is to get me in shape. But
all right. So the good news is your kids are on the right step, because being a real estate agent, you have to be able to work with the people. So getting your psychology license early and before you go into real estate, that's brilliant. So that's where they'll be going.
That very well could be, yes, because that is very helpful in real estate.
It's amazing how many people real estate great agents we talk to that their parents or their grandparents were real estate agents. Yeah. They wanted nothing to do with real estate, and then here they are in real estate and love it. Yeah, they usually go to do something else. Yeah. And then come back. I'm sure there's many that never do that, but it is amazing how many people actually do that.
Yeah. Interesting.
And it's probably easier. Although we've talked to people, I think the youngest we talked to, she got into real estate when she was 18. She was a real estate agent at 18 years old, which I can't imagine. Wow. But I think that may be part of it. As you go, I think it helps to have a little bit of age. Not that you actually need it, but you're mentally, you think you know how are you when you're young? You think, I'm just they're gonna think I'm too young to help them buy a house. This is the biggest investment they
Right.
ever make.
Yeah.
Reality is, if you show you're knowledgeable and you know what you're doing, the age doesn't matter to most. It doesn't matter to me, but it doesn't matter to most people.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. And I think, too, if you surround yourself with, whether you're on a team or whether you're not, if you surround yourself with people that can be go-tos in situations when you're unfamiliar territory, right? Which, when you're starting out, all of it's unfamiliar territory. Right. You've had your education, you understand some of the name of the game, and nuances, but until you get in the field, it's going to be tough for you to get that. If you've got a pool of people that you can go to help, you can make it work.
Yeah.
And then as you learn, as you grow, as you see new things, because every day is new in real estate, you experience different pitfalls or roadblocks or whatever, and you figure out how to navigate through those things. You get better at it. But the fake it till you make it is really, a lot of people will tell you that in real estate. That's a tough one, because if you're faking it, then you're, in my opinion, potentially not serving your client the best you can. So if you surround yourself with a team, or you surround yourself with people that you can actually learn from and help you through those transactions, and you're still serving a client and you're learning along the way.
Yeah, I think I tell people who ask me about getting into real estate, young people, or even in mortgages, or pretty much anything they're going to do. The number one thing I think you need to do if you're young, well, actually it doesn't even matter if you're young, but I think it helps them more than the others, is you better become an expert. Mm-hmm. So you better study. You better do what you did. You listen to the people around you. Because you can overcome a lot with knowledge. Mm-hmm. If you can communicate that knowledge, you can overcome that. And that sounds a lot like what you did, but you also did it very quickly. I mean, you said 7 months. You totally transferred. How did you get going? I mean, what did you do to actually get your business up and going that quickly?
So when I first started out, I was with, is it okay to say the name of the firm?
Yeah.
I was with Century 21 Sheets. Loved people there. And so, as I said, in those days, this was pre-COVID, in those days, everybody was in the office, or a lot of people were in the office. And so we had a large bullpen, and there's something called floor time that no seasoned agent really wants, but you have to have coverage for it. Floor time, for those of you guys that don't know about it, is basically you have somebody that usually is in the office that can take a call or a walk-in or whatever and help them, so that the client service. Well, nobody really wanted to man the phones. Agents didn't want to be in there, and so when our floor time schedule would come out, I would just send an email and say, "Hey, anybody wants to give up their floor time? I'm on it." And so I would just absorb those floor times, because I was in the office absorbing whatever knowledge I could anyway. So since I was there, I figured I'd just take it. And so I got a lot of leads from that resource, either walk-ins or phone calls. And then the other piece of that is the leasing world, or leasing aspect of real estate. Clients need a home, right? So whether they're buying or whether they're leasing, they need a place to stay. Well, there's really no money in helping a client find a lease. You may make $100, you might make $200. There's just nothing to it. So when you're driving around and showing them different houses, it's kind of a loss leader, so to speak. But you're developing a relationship with a client that someday probably is going to buy. You're developing at that time for me, I was developing the ability to walk the walk and talk the talk, and learn what people are looking for, and so that to me was a learning experience. And so, since nobody else wanted to deal with those tenants or the lease clients, I would absorb those as well. And so as I started out doing those, even though there wasn't a lot of money with those, I started getting those clients that way, and that helped not only train me and teach me the business, but it put $200, $300, $400 on a lease client, and then some of these sales would transpire out of that floor time, and would help provide that pool of clients that would eventually turn into closing. So that was pretty helpful for me in a way. I was able to make it that first 6 or 7 months.
So you don't have to spend all your time on the floor right now. So
yeah.
How would somebody get in contact with you if they were looking to buy or sell?
Yeah, so probably the easiest way to get a hold of me is a cell phone, text, call, whatever. Number's 317-509-7958. 317-509-7943. And they can always contact me by email to robsorrell@kw.com. So it's first name, last name @kw.com.
And you spell your last name Sorrell.
You got it.
Yes, I did it. I can read my own notes.
You can. That's pretty good. That's really good. He had to pop up the lower third on the video, so he had it down.
I probably should have spelled it for you. So you did very well.
Yes.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. All our contact information is there. Or you can give us a call at 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And thanks for listening to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. The gurus we interview share valuable insights. They reveal their strengths, personalities, and how they'll work for you. Well, we hardworking mortgage guys secure your best mortgage. Real estate gurus work hard too. They avoid problems the amateurs don't see. They listen and they find unrealized opportunities. If you're buying or selling a home, a real estate guru is a valuable asset. If you're even thinking of buying or selling a home, keep listening and definitely call one of Indy's Real Estate Gurus.
All right, so let's take a sidestep and get off real estate for a little while. Let's get to know you a little more. So let's say I take away your phone and throw it as far as I can. And after you yell at me and everything, let's say
He's violent.
Yeah, I was pounding on the door.
We've already established that.
I don't even remember that.
But what do we catch you doing for fun?
For fun. So I enjoy spending time with family. So we've got some family here local, and we don't get together as much as we used to when our kids were younger, because the kids have started to forage out on their own and move out of state. But I love getting together with family. We're kind of a big game family, so we like playing a variety of different board games or other types of games like that. And then just a couple of years ago, I've got a sister and a brother-in-law live in Carmel, and my wife and I live in Fishers, and we decided to go halvesies on a pontoon boat. And so we dropped that in at Geist. And so when I'm not on my phone, even though I am on my phone out there on a boat, but that's okay. When I'm not on my phone, you can find me out there either with friends or family or sometimes clients out on a boat, and just enjoy getting out there on the water. Even if I'm just sitting there bobbing like a bobber, it's a lot of fun to be out there.
So what you're saying is, if a client wants to talk to you about real estate and purchasing a home, they can say, "Hey, look, let's go jump on the pontoon."
Let's jump on a pontoon.
And that way they can't get away from you.
Tour houses, guys.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I'll bet you'll show anybody ready to buy on the water house. Yeah, you'd be more than happy to take them out on the pontoon.
Happy to do that. Yep.
That'd be a good way to look at houses, wouldn't it?
It would be.
It gives you a whole different perspective of the house from that direction.
Yeah. Now you may get shot at if you're pulling into the wrong slip, but.
Well, aren't there usually real estate signs on the water?
There usually is. Sometimes you got a pool of slips though, 2, 3, 4, whatever.
Oh
yeah,
okay.
Pull into the wrong one, and people tend to get unhappy about that. But,
yeah, that would not be good.
Yeah, but so that, and then I fairly involved in my church as well, so we do a lot of stuff with the church, and so definitely keep busy.
So, what's your favorite board game?
I'm trying to think of the name of it. So I kind of like the old stuff, but there's a lot of good new stuff as well. So I love Risk.
Mm-hmm.
Risk was one of my favorite games, and there are a variety of new games out there that are strategy. So Pandemic is one of them that I enjoy, and I can't think of the name of one. It's I wouldn't even begin to describe it to you, but anyway, it's the strategy type of games are the ones that I really enjoy, and that can be strategy like Pandemic. You got 4 people that are working together to try to solve the pandemic, and then even if you're playing some other game that's strategy against your opponents. Those types of things make you think. I like those.
Yeah, the reason I bring that up is because my family and with I have younger kids, 6 and 8, so we like to do board games. We'll switch it off every Friday, movie night or game night, and then so we do a lot of games. But I can't wait till my kids get older, and I'm like, hey, let's play Risk, let's do these other ones, because right now them trying to read a clue card or something like that, it's tough. But as they get older, I'll be like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, nowadays it's like sorry.
Yeah, Candyland.
Yeah.
All right, it's not that bad.
I always like playing Candyland with my kids.
Yep.
We don't do it anymore. My youngest is 30, so we quit.
So he doesn't play Candyland anymore?
No, he doesn't. No, he's bored. I kind of still like it. Actually, I will say they were fun to play when they were little, but they are kind of a boring game when you're older.
Yeah, when you're older,
there isn't much. And,
Shoots and Ladders was another one. I don't know if you still play that with your kids.
Yeah, we did it for a while. Yeah. My kids have progressed a little further. They do a thing. They love the game Mario Life. It's similar to Life, but you collect stars to fight Bowser. So my kids love that. So,
so I'm guessing if you like strategy games, that leads right into one of the things you probably love about real estate. Is that because there's a lot of strategy in offers and pricing and
so for sure there's a lot of strategy. So navigating the whitewater rapids of real estate is something that real estate's obviously learners do as well. That's one of the things that I think is the most exciting, and it can be the most fulfilling part of the real estate transaction. It can also be the most frustrating part of the real estate transaction, right? But that's where I think I find a lot of the fulfillment from real estate is being able to navigate those types of challenges. And so, yes, there's a lot of strategy to that and trying to think through what's the best way to approach a particular issue, whether it's a negotiation on price or putting together the right package, or if you're looking at inspections, those types of things. Navigating those types of conversations with the client as well as strategizing what is going to be best for both sides. Because, I mean, for me, I like a win-win transaction. I like it when both sides come away from the table and say, hey, this is really nice working with you guys. That's fun for me.
Yeah.
The adversarial, life's too short. I just don't like, those types of transactions. We still have them. You guys still have them, I'm sure. But the ones where everybody's smiling at the closing table, those are the best.
Yeah.
And so navigating your way to get there and helping people get to that point is very fulfilling in this world.
Yeah, I agree. It's a lot more fun that way when they're happy and everybody's happy, and it's no fun when people don't trust you or they're there's fighting and things like that.
Yeah.
But usually, it's interesting because I can tell your personality is one that's very calming, which has to help immensely in that type of situation because it calms everybody. Because things come up and inspection response or something comes up with a lender, whatever. Having somebody who's calm, who can kind of, because the idea everybody wants to close, so how do we get there is really.
Yeah, you've hit on something that I think is probably one of the most critical factors for a real estate agent, and that is the ability to be calm in those types of situations. So you may be pedaling faster than snot underneath the water, but if you're able to appear calm on the surface, your clients. This is one of the biggest transactions they're going to go through, and they do this once every how many years, right? We may be working, you guys included, we may be working on 5, 8, 10 transactions a day,
right?
Because they last for a while, and so all of the challenges that come with that, our clients are ones that typically, as we talked about the psychology of everything before, they typically are on a roller coaster ride, and their emotions can be high and low, and split second they turn. And so if you can be that calming presence for them, it helps them not only weather that storm, but it also gives them confidence that what you're doing, how you can navigate through that. You're gonna gather the information. We're gonna figure out the best way to work through this particular issue, whatever it is, inspection response or whatever. There's generally nothing that you haven't seen before, and we've made it through in the past. We're going to make it through this time. Let's walk through this and see what the best solution is. And so that calming presence, I think, is helpful for your clients more so even than for yourself. Because, like I said, you may be sweating like crazy yourself, but if you can be that calming presence for them, that's going to be helpful.
Yeah, as soon as you start freaking out, they're going to freak out even harder. So keeping calm. It's one, it allows you to think about the options. Because if you start, let's be honest, mentally, if you start freaking out too, you can't think straight. But it's the whole thing, because everything you do is going magnified to them. So if you show calm, they're going to be calm.
Yeah. And if you're emotional, then you just fan the flame of their emotion. I think it's even tougher.
Well, I think that's one of your superpowers, but you probably have more than that one superpower. So what would you say your other superpowers are?
Probably work ethic. I will do whatever it takes to get the job done. So whether it's get up early, stay up late, whatever that is, I try to make sure that at the end of the day, there's the balls are all in the air, and none of them are on a downward trajectory. So as you know, you're working through multiple transactions at a time. There are so many different facets of any one transaction, and you multiply those together, you add those together. It can be fairly daunting, and so I'm kind of a list guy, and that helps me make sure that none of those balls are dropping. That the work ethic side of things, I think, is probably one of my greatest strengths.
Well, we believe heavily in work ethic. We go by the hardworking mortgage guys.
Oh yeah, hey, and I didn't even write that into this.
I will say, notes. I didn't think about it at first, and then somebody mentioned to me years back, is when you write stuff down, all right, here's the list of everything I got to do. Yeah. You don't realize how beneficial, because there'd be times like before I started doing it, I'd wake up and like, oh shoot, I forgot to call that person, or I need to hurry up and just send them an email or something. But it's by having the list, even you can't miss anything, and if something happens, you just write it on there, and you'll get to it.
Yep, so. You're exactly right. It's exactly what I do. And unfortunately, I've got probably 3 or 4 little pieces of paper on the list. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I better combine so I don't lose one. But
it saves you time.
It does.
Tons of time, because when you get to a point like, okay, I have 10 minutes to do something. What was I supposed to do? Yeah. If you don't have a list, if you don't have it written down,
and it helps me prioritize too. Like you said, if you got 10 minutes, you have 7, 8, 10, 12 things on your list. You can pick out the one. Okay, I can knock that one out.
Yes.
So if somebody's wanting to be on that list for you to call, how would they get in touch with you?
So again, phone number is probably the best way to get in touch with me. 317-509-7943. 317-509-7943. And always can reach out to me by email as well. Sorrell at kw.com. ROBSORRELL at kw.com.
Did you think for a minute he was going to misspell it?
Nope. That is something I do for fun. We don't see it a lot now because everything's electronic, but especially like when I was in the car industry and people would be filling out their name, they'll write their name. I'll look at them like, you spelled your name wrong. Everybody looks down and starts looking at their name. And I'm like, how long you been spelling your name? You think you spelled your own name wrong?
Well, I'd believe it. I wouldn't surprise me if I misspelled my name. But if you want to get a hold of Ian or I, Ian is IAN, right?
Oh, you got to spell that sometimes for people.
I know. Go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call us at 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938.
All right, and now we'll get into the question of the week. And the question of the week is sponsored by, Rick and I, the Hardworking Mortgage Guys, where we believe in helping and supporting you and your realtor by sending constant updates through the loan process. We don't like living in a black hole, so we don't allow you to live in a black hole. All right, so here's a tough question for you, and I'm kind of curious on this one. What was your first car?
Oh, my goodness. That has been so long ago, Ian. It was, I can't tell you the make and model of the thing, but I can tell you that it got about 2 miles to the gallon. It was a white, I can't remember if it was a Caprice.
Oh, big one.
Yeah, it was a white car that I remember when I got the thing, spent a couple $1,000 on it. My poor dad, who didn't have any money, went in and got the thing for me. And I remember filled it up, and I came home a day or two later or whatever, and I told my dad, I said, something must be wrong with this car because the gas mileage on this thing is terrible. I said, son, that's it.
But what was gas at that time?
Oh yeah, for a college kid though. So yeah, gas was probably $1 something at that time. But yeah, it might have been. It might as well.
It still was expensive.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you're, I guess it was college. It was high school because I was working at that point in time. But yeah, when you're not making a whole lot of money, every dollar counts. But yeah, I just remember I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
is this real?
So you probably didn't drive it a whole lot.
I tried not to drive it as much as possible. So yeah, would walk sometimes to where I needed to go. But yeah, it was painful filling up that tank.
Yeah. So what happened to that car? Do you remember?
Nah, so I swapped it for something that was a lot smaller. It was like it wasn't a Bug, but it was one of these a little bitty car, and that thing got better gas mileage. I mean, with those little bitty cars, but you can only do a couple things. I couldn't take anybody with it was just pack them all into this little bitty Bug or whatever. And I remember that thing on its last leg, and we were driving down the road one day, and the timing belt went out, and there was a big old semi that was right behind us, and this car just kept slowing down, and the semi is getting closer and closer. I said, guys, something's wrong with the car. And that was all she wrote. That thing was done.
Yeah. I like how you said your buying gas was roughly about $1 because I started driving probably 01. It was like $3-4, and then here in a couple of years, then gas prices shot up to $5, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I want to see $1.
I remember when it was under $1. I remember when it went over and then came back down, and we were like, oh, great, it's back down to $1. But I will say one thing: I can tell he is not a car guy.
No. I'm not a cars. To me, are a tool. I've got a nice Camry right now. I like the looks of the car and everything, but
they're cars, awesome looking.
Yeah, they're really sweet. They're really sweet. It's 2019, and it's a sweet looking car. But cars for me are just a means of transport. You won't find me out shining my car every 2 days or whatever. And I do try to get it clean because it's white, so it gets dirty pretty quick. But yeah, it's for me, it's a tool of trade.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Camry. I drive one, so I love it.
Yep.
Mine has 150-something thousand miles on it. Yep. Barely put any money into it. Not going everything what I can find right now, but I love it. So so I want to hear a story. So I'm going to ask you.
All right.
What do you think your most memorable deal was?
Oh my! If I had to pick one, I would pick my first transaction. So my very first transaction, I was about 6 months in, and it was about a $500,000 house. So it was a pretty good sized deal for a first transaction. It was a really good friend of mine, and we were on the buy side, and house up in Saxony area, and we were at the final walkthrough. And to that point, the transaction had gone relatively smoothly. I mean, you always have stuff on inspection. So we navigated all that. But it's 9:15. We're closing at 10. We got permission from the sellers to bring 2 carloads of stuff over, put it in the garage. And the movers were coming right after closing. And so we had gotten permission to roll out the carpet covers and stuff so the movers could come in and drop everything off. So we were there doing that. We unloaded both of those cars, and about 9:20 or so, I got a call from the title company and said, "Hey, we got a problem." And first transaction, and a good friend of mine, and the title company says, we just found out that the wife of the seller had filed bankruptcy in another county, and you guys probably know they typically will search the county that they live in rather than everything. So anyway, they found that she filed bankruptcy in another county, and we're going to have to hold off on stuff until we get this figured out. And so I got off the phone and had to tell my clients, and the word livid is not quite apropos. Whatever livid is on steroids is kind of okay. But so anyway, that was probably one of my most memorable transactions. But believe it or not, we closed the next day. So we were again able to navigate that, and got the clients, off the ledge, and we worked through that situation, and then closed the next day, and we were able to get them the house. So
Yeah, and it wasn't your fault in any way, shape, or form. That's not.
yeah,
It's there's not. There's all you can do is help them get through it.
yeah, yeah.
But he stayed even keel, like a duck on a pond. So he
Buddy,
did just fine.
that first trend, I'm sure they saw me sweat on that.
But it
They
was a
probably
friend.
saw my eyes about this big when I was talking to title.
What do you mean?
I bet you they were livid, but not at you. They were just livid at the situation.
It was livid with the situation, and like I said, it's we were able to work through it. And I think in this business, 9 times out of 10, the things that come up that derail a transaction or that cause an issue, it comes down to communication. There's always going to be things, always hurdles or roadblocks or whatever you want to call them that you're going to have to work through. But if you can communicate, hopefully earlier than the 40 minutes before closing, but if you can communicate along the way, I think it helps you navigate those things. And sometimes people get angry with you, and sometimes they shoot the messenger, and sometimes we as realtors we can drop the ball. I mean, it just happens. We're human.
Everybody can make mistakes,
Sure.
right? Or
Sure.
miss something.
Yeah, but if you communicate and you're honest, and if you take responsibility for things where you do drop the ball, I think it's a lot better for everybody.
Right.
But the one thing I've always noticed is, yes, a lot of people shoot the messenger because you just have to be the guy there, and they are furious.
Sure.
But what happens, what most people don't tell you, is either an hour, 30 minutes, even the next day, they're like, hey, look, I'm sorry for that. And they usually apologize. And they're like, you just have, and if you've been in this situation, you've been in sales long enough, you understand, you're going to catch stray fire every once in a while, and you understand it. And you just let them know, hey, look, it's all right. I understand.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like we talked about before, it's an emotional roller coaster for these folks, and you just got to understand that going in, and you can't take it personal, and as tough as that may be.
Yeah, well, I can understand why they were upset. They had their truck out front. They have they have stuff in the garage. Covered in the car. I don't know why they were upset.
No, and we had to pack everything back up too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we packed everything back up because at that time we didn't know if we were closing. Title, that was all that was said on title was like, we're not closing. We got to figure this out. So we had to take everything and put it back in the vehicles, and
that's
it was an interesting one.
So, what is something you're incredibly proud of in your business?
I would say probably I'm not toot my own horn here, but I produce about 10 million a year roughly for the last few years in that ballpark, and I'm a solo agent. I don't have a transaction coordinator, so and part of that is probably not smart. So for you agents out there that are trying to figure out how the best way to do this, it probably is not necessarily solo, but I'm kind of a control freak. I like making sure that I'm on top of all the aspects of a transaction. It's tough for me to turn that over to someone else. And so I've always just kind of kept all of that myself. And the reason I think that's, for me, something that I'm proud of is just because it takes a lot to be able to do that kind of volume on your own.
Oh, yeah.
When you don't turn that over to a coordinator or someone else to help you with that stuff. And so is it the smartest thing to do? Probably not. And could I do more volume if I was able to get transaction coordinators or a buyer agent or whatever? Yeah, probably could. But for whatever reason, it's just not the route that I decided to go. I like being able to know all aspects of a transaction, and so it's just been easier and it works better for me that way.
Yeah, everybody has to do it their way, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So I noticed on your mug it says escape room.
Oh yeah.
So did you actually do one? So,
yes. And actually, so some very, very good friends of mine actually own escape rooms here in Indianapolis. They've got 3 in Indianapolis and 1 over in Ohio. And so when they first were putting the escape room together up in Fishers, I went and helped them before opening. I went and helped them kind of just do some miscellaneous things to get things open, and whether ceiling tile or build a table or whatever it was. And so from that experience anyway, they gave me my own little mug here that I carry my coffee around in, and the U.S. initially have I done a room? Yes, I've done several rooms. POW was my favorite room that I have done so far, and that was the first room that I did. And at that time, and I think even now, it had only about a 3% success rate.
Did you succeed?
No, we did not. We probably had 7 or 8 people in that room with us, and had some really intelligent people in there. But the Escape Room USA, they're I don't know how to describe it. If you ever done an escape room and it's not them, you'll notice an immediate difference. The lengths and the nuances of their escape rooms they're just top notch. And so the clues are tough to find sometimes. I mean, they have different levels of room and or difficulties of room. But POW, like I said, was a tough one, and it's very intricate. You need some smart people to be able to do some of those rooms, and unfortunately, we did not make it out. I think we were probably about 3 or 4 minutes from making it, but you get it 60 minutes.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do one, and I saw that in your mug. The one thing that always makes me think of it is there's a Big Bang Theory episode where they go in there and they complete it in like 6 minutes.
Yeah,
and they're like, "This is all it was."
That would not be the case with these escape rooms. These are very, very well done. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I would highly encourage you. Like I said, they've got 3 locations around this area: Westfield, Fishers, and downtown. So just tons of fun.
So that's a great place you can take your clients when you want to get them to meet them.
Yeah, good.
See?
Yeah. Well, and actually, I as a kind of a gift or closing gift or whatever, I've done that before. It's giving them kind of a gift basket or whatever for escape room. But a lot of fun. Highly, and I would definitely recommend it.
That's awesome. So back on the real estate side. So what does home ownership mean for like a first-time home owner, whether it's financially or even mentally?
Loaded question. So you could probably go a ton of different ways with that. So I think with first-time home buyers, the experience is such an unknown that if you don't have an agent and a lender, really, to be honest with you, that can guide them through that, or let me put it this way: if you don't have an agent and or a lender that educate them through the process, it can be very difficult for them. If you've got a seasoned home buyer, seller, or whatever out there, it's not as critical. Things change over years, right? Homes change and that type of stuff. But overall, they've been through that process. But a first-time home buyer, they're clueless, and it's not a knock on first-time home buyers. They've just never been through it, right? And so that, to me, educating them along the way, making sure that they understand that process and what you're going to experience over the next, really 60, 90 days or whatever that might be, because it's a journey, right? It's great when you get the house under contract, but you've got quite a journey before that.
Yes.
And so from a first-time home buyer perspective, I think getting them to a point where they're familiar with the process and they're comfortable with the process and they understand that process is probably our biggest job as real estate agents, as lenders, so that they're comfortable making the decisions that they need to make. And if they're not comfortable, I don't think I've done my job well. So I don't know if that answers your question, but for a first-time home buyer, I think that's one of the most critical things that we as lenders and real estate agents can do.
No, I fully agree, because I've worked with we do a lot of first-time buyers here with Indiana Housing, and there's times where they've already had their own agent or whatnot, and you can tell when they're dealing with a new agent, because they'll ask me all these questions, and I'm like, well, you should ask your realtor. They'll go through that with them, but then when they're dealing with a good agent, that they already know all these answers. They come to me and they're like, no, we should. Yep. Let's do this. Let's get this together. So it's a big difference.
Yeah, and I think it's important for agents and lenders too. I mean, there are certain things that I can answer on the lending side, but I try to stay in my own lane. And so if I'm directing a client, whether they're a first-time home buyer or not, to the lender for certain questions, and vice versa, it's a well-oiled machine rather than them hearing, something from me and then they go to the lender and get a different answer, then there's a disconnect there. And so, I know enough to stay in my lane and enough not to give the client misinformation. So.
Yeah. I had the client call me and they go, all right, I got the inspection back. I just emailed it to you. And I'm like, I don't really need this. I go, you need to talk with your realtor about this stuff. I go, you go through it.
Leave that email, please.
Yeah. Not only do I not need it, I don't want it. Do not send your lender your inspection.
Yes.
Please.
If you don't get anything out of this podcast other than that, do not send
to us.
You could only hurt your deal.
Yeah.
Oh my. Yeah.
It's funny that they think that's something they need to do.
Yeah.
But on that same, so now you've walked them through, and they end up buying a house, first time home buyer.
Mm-hmm.
So what benefits do they gain by owning a home?
So I mean, the first benefit is just the ability to own your own home. To me, is one of the greatest things that you have as a freedom in this country. You've got the ability to do that. It obviously comes with some pitfalls. I mean, now it's your sewer system, it's your refrigerator, but all of the things that you guys well know and that most public knows, and you're paying your own mortgage. You're earning your own equity at this point rather than paying down somebody else's mortgage.
Right.
And so you're developing an asset that is you're not only going to be able to leverage later, for home equity line of credit or whatever, but that now you have that you can leverage as a purchase or flip into a new sale or a new purchase. If you want to get an investment, obviously now you've got a tool that you can use from an investment perspective as cash flow generator. But I think those are all great. But to me, the home ownership side of that thing is what I think lights up people's eyeballs. When they're particularly first time home buyers, like I own my own. It's kind of like your first car. I mean, you asked me about my first car, and I'm not a real big car guy. I couldn't even remember the name of my first car. But when you get that first car, it's kind of like I'm autonomous. I have the ability. I don't have to call mom and dad, and say, hey, can you drop me off at the mall, or get on my bike, or somebody come pick me up. You've got that ability now to say that's mine. And I think that's same with a house. You move in and you're like, this is pretty cool. I own this, or I will, and 5,000 more payments.
It's only 360. It's only 360.
Hey, but what is it? What is the statistics? Home, if you by the time you retire and stuff, home ownership is roughly about 500,000 equity you have and stuff.
Homeowner has $500,000 more net worth than a renter.
So all of us will speak. We're sorry if we made you an extra 500,000. We are sorry, or more. But Rob, if somebody's wanting to get in contact with you, what is the best way?
Cell phone's the best way to get a hold of me. That can either be a call or a text. 317-509-7943. 317-509-7943. Email works as well. I just may not get to it until the day's activities are closed, but that's Rob Sorrell at KW. That's ROBSORRELL at KW.com.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And please follow us for more Indy's Real Estate Gurus.
And reminder, if you have any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, refinance, let us know. We'll be more than happy to help you. Hey, Rob, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you on our show today.
It's been a lot of fun, guys.
Branch NMLS number 33041. Rick Ripma's NMLS number 664589. Ian Arnold's NMLS number is 1995469. Equal housing opportunity. Some restrictions apply.